Hey there, I'm an animated Connor Walsh, which is kind of ironic because people say I'm pretty animated in real life. Anyway, welcome to Walsh Wednesday, my new/old podcast. Let me explain. Back in high school in 2013, I was pressured by some friends to do an impromptu solo acoustic performance in my cafeteria. Believe it or not, people really took to it. And it turned into a monthly musical series I did through the rest of high school. Who said High School Musical wasn't realistic? By college, I turned Walsh Wednesday into a web series, focusing on interviews surrounding community events, charities, and local entertainment in the Hudson Valley and Capital Regions of New York. Walsh Wednesday spawned several spin-offs such as the Walsh Wednesday Concert Series, Walsh Wednesday Spotlights, and Walsh Wednesday The Reflective Series before its hiatus in 2021. After that, I spent the last 3 years working in radio, honing my craft, conducting unbelievable interviews, traveling to fascinating places, attending mind-blowing events, and meeting some of my personal heroes. Now, with the help of some awesome people I've met along the way, I'm bringing Walsh Wednesday back bigger and better than ever. Let's stay curious, keep an open mind, and as always, I'm glad we get to spend some time. Welcome to Walsh Wednesday. On this week's episode, we're speaking with President and CEO of Dutchess Tourism, Melaine Rottkamp, IAABO Board 114 interpreter, Terry Walsh, and New York Yankee legend, renowned jazz guitarist, and founder of Tune Into Lung Health, Bernie Williams. Special thanks to Impact PR and Communications, IAABO Board 114, Walsh Valuation, and Tune Into Lung Health. That being said, on with the show. Hey there, and welcome to Walsh Wednesday. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and I have a great guest with us today. I was about to call her the host. No, I'm the host. See, this is what happens when the camera gets on and everything. It's like, I'm used to the radio, man. As you'll see, we'll figure out this whole on-camera thing. But not just an amazing guest, the Queen of Dutchess County, she's been called. With us, we have President and CEO of Dutchess Tourism, Inc. We have my dear friend, Melaine Rottkamp. Melaine, how are you?
I'm great. I think you probably went that way because I can take over sometimes.
As a good thing, we were joking right before we got on how it's like, I don't need to be here. I got to ooh and ah. I'm your cheerleader through this whole thing.
That's it.
It's like, oh, what's new? Oh, yay! All like that.
We all need cheerleaders. And we do. We have such great conversations that sometimes we forget that it's not just us in a room and that we have guests listening. And so we want to make sure you know all the fun things to see and do. So we're going to get into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So beginning of the year for a lot of people can feel as if nothing's happening, and it can feel dark, it can feel dank, it can feel very gray, but there's a number of cool things that are coming up in Dutchess County, Hudson Valley as a whole, that can help brighten this time for a lot of people. And I think we should start off with, just chronologically, National Plan Your Vacation Day, which you were telling me was very important to you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't plan it out, it's not going to happen. So talk to us about Plan Your Vacation Day and how we can start planning for Dutchess County related stuff.
So the U.S. Travel Association has designated the last Tuesday in January every year as National Plan Your Vacation Day, because I know my calendar gets full real fast. And so if I don't set time aside for that trip, it doesn't happen. Or you're trying to squeeze something in and it becomes very difficult. So I was really excited when one of my oldest, dearest friends and I, in December, planned a girls' getaway for June, because now it's on the calendar. It's good for your mental health to have something to look forward to, and everyone looks forward to travel and new experiences, whether you're going out on an adventure or you're looking for rest and relaxation. You have to plan the time. Give yourself that gift. And a significant portion of people every year leave PTO on the table. They don't take it. It's use it or lose it, and we don't want you to lose it. And your employers probably don't want you to lose it either, because somebody who is well rested, who's taken time away, who's had a break, is more productive, more efficient. So they want you to take your time too. And if you need a signed note from me, I'll do that too. So just let me know. I'll write you a permission slip to take a vacation. And you don't even have to stay in Dutchess County, but if you do, we've got lots of things to help you plan a great staycation here.
Fantastic. You heard it yourself. You could get a permission slip from the Queen of Dutchess County yourself. It's like, the Queen said I could go on vacation. The Queen said it. There you go. You have to do it. So no, fantastic. And not just that, it really pairs up with another interesting week. It's a fake week. It's more like 2 weeks.
It's 2.
But we call it that. Actually, it's nice that it's 2 weeks. Gives you more time. But Hotel Week is also something that's happening end of January into February. And that helps kick the new year off really, really nicely, actually. Yeah. So how does Hotel Week work, and what kind of benefits and perks can people find as they're going to find these Dutchess County hotels?
Yeah, so we haven't run a Hotel Week since 2019.
Oh, really?
And so this is the first time back to be able to offer it. It is a slower season for our hotels in January and February. And so there's still lots great going on. So we worked with our hotel partners, $99 a night at 14 different hotels in Dutchess County from Sunday, January 26th through Sunday, February 9th. So you can come stay at the Inn at Belfield, brand new hotel across from the CIA.
Oh my God.
The Heartwood across the street from Vassar College, brand new hotel, gorgeous. Curry Estates, wonderful historic inn run by the Curry sisters. And then everything from your Residence Inns in Poughkeepsie and Fishkill, Hilton Garden Inns, Courtyards, Residence, Hampton Inns, Hyatt House, Hyatt Place. 14 different hotels in Dutchess County are a part of this $99 a night deal.
Oh my God.
I know.
Really?
Yes.
And that's just not like minimum 99, like 99 is the...
99.
All right. You guys aren't going to see me for a second. I'm going to hit up one of these hotels because it's funny. I also DoorDash on the side as well. I have been, especially last year. And I hit up the one across from the CIA. I was asking, it's like, it's a gorgeous place.
Yeah.
But I was just dropping off an order, and I was asking them at the front desk, it's like, yeah, so how much is it for a night? I'm just curious. And the guy types it in, and it's like, yeah, for tonight, so we're looking at about like $450. It's like, okay, good to know while I'm leaving.
Well, it's based on demand.
Yes.
And Dutchess County and the Hudson Valley is in high demand.
Yeah.
And so especially if you're looking for those weekends in the fall, those are going to be higher to
That's when it was, too.
Yeah.
It was last fall.
Right. And so take advantage. Come down. Even if you live here and you need like a mom's getaway, maybe you've got some little ones and you just like to sleep through the night, this is an amazing Valentine gift for your spouse to give you. So, or get together, maybe you have little ones and you've got parents or in-laws or friends who could watch your kids for a night and you can get away, and then you can swap and they can get away and have a night away. So there's so many great opportunities to do this. You don't even have to leave your room if you don't want to, but if you do want to, I've got other fun things to do because we have our Finder passes. There are 8 different passes. If you don't know what date to plan, what kind of fun to have, let us help you. I have helped so many people plan last-minute Valentine's Day getaways. And my staff is amazing, and they're there to help. And you can always call our office. It's 845-463-4000. But use the Finder Pass. It's DutchessTourism.com/Finder. There's a CIA Chef Finder. You can have fun going around to more than 40 restaurants and eateries in the county, checking in, get points toward prizes at the CIA, and eat amazing food. So everything from ice cream at Zoe's, which is cow to cone in 3 days, to fine dining at Essie's, to the Apple Pie Bakery at the CIA. There are so many places that you can go, earn points. Some places have discounts, and then get fabulous prizes. So the CIA Chef Finder is great. If you're thinking about your sweet tooth, the Sweet Tooth Trail Confection Finder is great. There's delicious places on there. A lot of good donuts in Dutchess County.
So good.
Gosh, oh my gosh.
I honestly think that apple cider donuts are New York's best export.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
They're top notch.
They
so
really
good.
are so
Have you ever
amazing.
I was at a place that shall remain nameless because it's not in Dutchess County.
Oh, okay.
But it's still part of the Hudson Valley, and I love and support my neighbors and friends. But I had a pulled pork barbecued sandwich on a cider donut with this amazing apple cabbage slaw. I can't even begin to tell you how amazing that was.
Tell me where that is off the mic.
We'll talk later.
I'm excited.
It was so good.
No, I haven't tried that, but that is fantastic. So good. So yeah, there are so many amazing things to take advantage of.
Yeah.
And I like what you were saying about trading off weeks if anybody needs a break to have somebody babysit and all that. The fact that it is 2 weeks, I know it's a lie. Hotel week is 2 weeks, but That's good because one week one person could go off, and then the next week somebody else can go off.
We're here to exceed your expectations.
You're
You expect
well
1 week,
exceeding it.
we give you 2.
2 for the price of 1. So good.
Yeah.
And not just that, but you mentioned this already with Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is coming up, and it's actually a very important weekend. It's going to be the weekend right after the Super Bowl. So all the guys, they'll be kind of depressed, but now it's time to, or if your team won, you're very happy. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how New York does this year. I'm rooting for them and everything. But with that being said, it's a big weekend. Valentine's weekend. Valentine's Day is on a Friday, and then that's also President's Weekend. So people are taking advantage of the 4-day weekend.
Right.
So as somebody who has helped plan many a last-second Valentine's Day, we still got a few weeks. What would you have to say to those who are looking to hopefully get a start now, or if it comes down to a couple days before? What do you recommend for Dutchess County for Valentine's Day?
That's a great question. And so, taking advantage of Hotel Week, doing an early Valentine's is great.
Early, that'd be nice.
Less crowded, more relaxed. But the Finder Passes, again, we talked about the food ones because we're very focused on those. But there's a Taste Finder Craft Beverage Trail. So you can get the 1-day pass or do the 3-day pass and go taste at the Desai Blue Sake Brewery is a part of that. 10 Mile Distillery is amazing in Eastern Dutchess. Gorgeous place. Great whiskeys and vodkas and other things out there. Gin, there's Sin Patch Gin. Go out there. A bunch of breweries are on it that are really terrific. A bunch of other distilleries are on it. The Slate Point Meadery is on it. And Dutchess County, no place else have we found in the state and then far beyond have cideries, breweries, distilleries, meaderies, and a sake brewery. We're the only ones that have that. And you can go to all of those kind of things using our Taste Finder Pass. If you like theater and art, there's the Inspiration Finder Pass that have discounts to some of our great venues like the Stissing Center and other places where you can go. Howland Cultural Center is a part of that. Go see a performance at a discount. You've got the there's another finder for history, the Story Finder. So some of our historic sites are open and part of it. Some of them closed for the winter or have limited schedule. Statsburg State Historic Site has their Tea and Talk series back, which I love.
That's back?
It's really cool. They clear out all the fancy, expensive old furniture and bring in round tables that normal Joes like me and you can sit at. Yeah. And they do a lecture. They have tea sandwiches. They have their own Statsburg blend of Harney teas. So that's a fun experience. It's really different to sit in their dining room and have this fancy tea there.
I didn't know that was back.
It is just
That's
like
awesome.
like you're on the Gilded Age, right? Just you don't have to dress up.
Fun fact: Gilded Age. If you watch the show Gilded Age, was actually filmed all around here. So
all over.
You have that too.
And you'll hear references if you follow the show. You'll hear them talk about the Vanderbilts and the Mills and the Astors, and they all lived here in Dutchess County and beyond. They had their great estates here. So we do great estates for the holidays. So if you got to see all the decorated mansions for the holidays, that was wonderful. But if you didn't, take advantage of Great Estates Garden and Landscape Weekends this summer to come see the beautiful gardens. Many of them, they have people that manage them, but it's so volunteer driven and they're beautiful and they're so different. So lots of fun things to do. Wintertime, even there's the Trail Finder. If it's cold and frigid and icy, don't do that. But if it's one of those really nice warm days, just bundle up, go explore some of these really great trails that we have because they're good all season.
They really are fun. I actually have done a number of the trails with one of my best friends. We just put on our boots. We go out there as long as it's not too bad. Yeah, we have a great time. We love going to the historic sites like Mills, Vanderbilt, because they got great trails. It's easy. For the most part, during the winter, they're pretty well cleared too. Yeah. So that's one of the nice things about it. And taking advantage of all that stuff is really good, really important. And you mentioned, of course, with the Great Estates Week in the summer, we'll have to have you back on summertime to talk about that more in depth. No, but that really is great. You brought up the history. The Hudson Valley as a whole has an amazing history. And with the well, I don't even know what RevCon is for
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
RevCon for short with 250 years. It is
Right.
250 years, right?
Coming on 2026.
Yes.
But there's events that happen leading up to 1776. So we have events leading up to 2026
Yeah.
to celebrate those 250. And we're doing RevCon. That's the same weekend. It's on Flag Day. Same weekend as Father's Day and the New York State Path Through History program. So that'll be a fun event, a second year event at the FDR Home and Library out in the lawn and in the Wallace Center. So really, there's going to be a big focus on our history, our revolutionary history, but also revolutionary things that happened later. If you look at like Eleanor Roosevelt and the work she did for human rights and civil rights, she was a revolutionary person. And so there's a ton of great programming that's going to be happening throughout the whole year.
Yeah. It's really impressive that we have the FDR estate and on one side of the road, and then on another parallel road is Volkill, Eleanor's estate. So we have both there. It's really incredible to think that it's like, wow, we had this great historic family, presidential family here in this area, which is insane. When I have friends from out of town come through, it's like, wait, what's that over there? It's like, oh, that's the FDR house. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
But it's just, living with it for so long, it's like I'm used to it. But that's one of the fun things about talking with you and getting this out there is to like break away from things being in the background and realizing the importance and the significance and how amazing it is. Not just for the people who are coming in as tourists, but allow yourself, if you're here in the Hudson Valley, be a tourist in your own hometown, because
Absolutely.
you can be missing out on so much.
Yeah.
And with that being said, you brought up the finders already. Now, we talked about this a lot on the radio, not so much, well, this is the first time here.
Yeah.
Which, again, thank you so much. But
Thank
first
you.
time here, do people have to download an app? Can they just go on their website? What is the best way to access all the finders that you've been referring to?
That's a great question. It doesn't take up space on your phone like an app would, but it is a digital link, and they're all free except for the Taste Finder because you get discounted like pours of beers, wine, cider, etc. So there's a few. All the rest of them are free. So it's just DutchessTourism.com/finder. You'll see all 8 passes, including the agritourism pass, the farm finder, which you're going to want because February and March are maple.
Yeah.
Our maple syrup season. You talk about FDR. He listed himself as a tree farmer.
Yes.
But maple syrup season is coming up fast, and it all depends on the weather. You know, it's just like fall foliage. You can't predict the exact start days and times. It's all weather dependent. But maple syrup here in Dutchess County, whether you're going to Sukup Farms out in Dover or to Sharp Reservation or Bowdoin Park, there are other places they do whole festivals around maple syrup, and it's the most delicious time of year. So you can do that because we were talking about food. But even if you're not into that or you want to do something earlier, you can still go walk llamas and alpacas in the winter. How beautiful and fun is that? You can go to Elk Ravine Farm. They have Highland cattle there, which are amazing. Those are the big, furry, long, red-haired ones with the big horns. If you're watching Outlander, you know what Highland cattle are.
It's funny that you mentioned that because we just got my mom the latest season on DVD for Christmas.
Nice.
Yep.
Has she
She's
read the
loving
books?
it. Oh, yeah, of course
Oh,
she
yeah.
has.
All the books. Still waiting. Book number 10.
I know. So you read too?
One of my best friends gave it to me 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And said, you're going to love this series. And so here I am still stuck on this series, but it's been fun.
My mom got to talk. She loves
Yeah.
it. She loves it. Books
You know,
and the
and
TV
we're working
series.
on a spotlight because there are so many parts of Dutchess County that are Scotland-esque.
Yes.
So you could dupe Dutchess County for Scotland between Bannerman Castle and the Elk Ravine Farm, and there's a bunch of other things there that fit that bill. So it's kind of fun to think about here. The Hudson Highlands are the same Highland mountains that are in Scotland. You know, before Pangaea was all one thing. When it split, same mountain range. So it's pretty neat.
It is really neat. And you're right. The history and culture that's gone through Dutchess County and how it's just kind of synthesized and worked its way into all these different places, all these tourism attractions, and just the regular way of life. Now, we've been focusing a lot on food between everything we've been talking about here, and a great way to really appreciate that. We still got a little time for this. This is in March, if I have that correct, but Restaurant Week.
Yes.
Is that an actual week, or is this one of the 2-for-1?
Also 2 weeks.
It's a 2-for-1 week.
Also
there
2 weeks.
Go.
Hudson Valley Restaurant Week coming up. That's going to be March 31st through April 13th. And that's a great time because, you know, the weather starts to get a little bit nicer. People are ready to get out and move around. But those are great ways to take advantage of restaurants at some discount prices. Those prefix meals that they have, that's through Valley Table Magazine, and the list of all the participating restaurants are going to be on their website, and we're a part of that, and we support our restaurants in Dutchess County to participate in that as well. So that'll be coming up to add it to your list of plans. So you can plan the whole year out if you want to.
Very good. So what have been some of the restaurants that have been traditionally a part of this in the past?
That's a great question. Terrapin in Rhinebeck has been a long time participant in Hudson Valley Restaurant Week. Joseph's Steakhouse in Hyde Park is one of those.
Right around the corner. Yeah.
Laconda and Fishkill has been a long time participant. There's a whole bunch of them around, but it's fun, and sometimes you get new ones that pop in. Like, ooh, I've never been to this one. This is a new one I want to check out. So, Aroma in Wappingers, Fishkill area, that's been on the list for a long time. But it's always nice and exciting to check out the list and see who's new.
Yeah. No, it's true. You get the classics. You get the ones that are tried and true, they're favorites, but then you can find something new because a lot of great businesses have popped up in the last year.
For sure.
So there's a lot of great things that you'll be able to find and weave through, and again, something to plan out, which would be fantastic.
And it's a great way for restaurants to gain a new audience, you know, because we're such creatures of habit.
Yes.
You know, my friends, like we live in Poughkeepsie, and so we'll go to Poughkeepsie restaurants, and I'm like, guys, we could go to Pauling. McKinney and Doyle is amazing. We could go to Millerton. There's so many restaurants up there that are wonderful. We could go to Charlotte's in Millbrook or Babette's or any of the other wonderful restaurants. There's a lot of opportunities for amazing dining, and we just need to break out of our bubble a little bit.
Absolutely. It's worth traveling 20 minutes just to go to a neighboring town.
And
it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Because, you know, here I am in Poughkeepsie. I could travel 15, 20 minutes over to Hyde Park, Rhinebeck, Red Hook, Arlington, LaGrange, Wappingers, a tiny bit further for Beacon and Fishkill, but still not bad. If you're going down on 9, it's a straight shot. So many great and easy opportunities. Yeah. So, of course, with all this being said, you mentioned the website already, but want to give another shout out to the website and social media. How can people find more information about all this and continue to follow everything that Dutchess Tourism has to offer?
Yeah, DutchessTourism.com is the landing page. It has all the roundup of everything you need, all the spotlights, the event calendar. The event calendar gets updated 6 days a week. And so go check that out because there's always new things being added to that. You don't know what to see or do. Like, let me go check the website. Let's see what's going on. Choose something from there. So that's a great way to do it. If you're looking at the different seasons, we have seasonal landing pages, which is a good roundup of everything because there's a lot of stuff on this website. We have an amazing content team that puts these things together, but DutchessTourism.com/winter. And then as we move to spring, then summer, then fall. So that'll have all the things that are relative to that particular season, from top 10 events of each month to right now we have a spotlight up there on, you know, setting your goals for 2025. Here's some things you could do. Bookstores. We're talking about books. We have so many great independent bookstores in the county and in the whole Hudson Valley. It's one of my favorite things to do. Talk to those folks. They've read everything and know everything. If you don't know where to start, they will help you. They're fantastic. Antiquing. I finally, for the first time, went in that wonderful the Hyde Park Antique Center.
Oh, it's so nice over there.
I hadn't been in. I've driven past it so many times, and every time I'm like, I gotta stop. And I finally did. And gosh, we did not have enough time planned to stop there. I gotta go back because
that's so unlike you.
Well, you know what? There's so much to do. Yeah. And making the time to do it, I'm as guilty as anyone. But when I do, it's, gosh, I appreciate it so much. And talk about amazing customer service. The owner is one of our certified tourism ambassadors. Nice. He didn't know me. He hadn't met me. So I'm just like, incognito, just trying to do my thing. But they're also one of our tourism information centers. And there's about 20 around the county where you pick up brochures and things. And gosh, he was so knowledgeable and really helpful. I heard him talking to people who came in. I was like, I wanted to give him a gold star, an extra gold star. Because that's what it's all about, is helping each other find those gems.
Yeah. You kind of have that little slight undercover boss in a way, where it's like you're looking around. It's like, all right, is everybody being the good ambassador as they can?
I don't want to be. I'm not judging, but
No,
also
you're not.
I don't be like, I'm Melaine. I'm not gonna do that.
Well, of course, that's the undercover part of it. But no, you felt probably very proud as you're hearing about
so
all
proud.
that.
I was like, yes.
Yes.
When people get it, it's really, really cool. And that's what you want. You want people to feel welcome in your community and feel like they're important. And when you see people providing that top tier level of customer service, it does make you super proud. And I just love it.
No, so good. So definitely check out the website. Of course, we'll have all of that in the description of this episode. Want to also give a good shout out to your YouTube channels, of course, too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of great videos that you guys have put together showing off the county. Actually, I really want to throw it to the accessibility videos that you were showing me the last time I was over at your office. Those were really well put together, but also really highlighting such an important thing about Dutchess County, how accessible we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we just, the finalized versions of those just got put up on the website this week.
Nice.
So we hosted a couple influencers from Chicago. One is a wheelchair user, one has an invisible disability, and they traveled together. And we had so much fun hosting them here in October and filming their adventures throughout the county and all the accessible features. And so you'll see that one there. It includes interviews with them talking about their experiences here. And then there's another video that we did with our partners that we'll use when we go talk to different businesses and chambers and other meetings and things to help people get on the bandwagon and really make accessibility a priority, because the number of people who have disabilities or mobility challenges increases as our population ages. Yeah. But it's just the right thing to do. And if you've never had that experience, I was just talking to one of our board members who had a bad fall on the ice and had been using, crutches and even a wheelchair at one point, and her ability to get around was really difficult. And so when you live it yourself for even a short time, you see, oh my gosh, we need to fix this.
Yes.
And so that's what this other video does. It's very encouraging to try to help people take that step. We're not asking people to solve, challenges overnight. We know that some challenges are free, but some are expensive. But if you make a plan now and you budget for it, you don't just kick the can down the road, but you make a plan to make changes, then that's going to be better for everyone. And it's good business.
Absolutely. Such good business. And speaking of being good business, Dutchess Tourism, Dutchess, Hudson Valley, a lot of the local partners and organizations have been partnering with organizations such as Wheel the World. That's somebody that you've been working with. You were showing me stuff about them. They go to all these different places to make sure that their businesses are as accessible as possible so these businesses can revamp things. We
partnered with Wheel the World. Not only do they do those assessments, but they're an online booking agent. They're a travel agency, so to speak. So it's a paid partnership we had with them to come assess more than 50 of our hotels, restaurants, and attractions for accessibility. So they're listed on the website. People can book trips directly to Dutchess County. And so, we're not saying that we're 100% accessible for 100% of people. We're saying here are the different things that are in place, and you, with your disability, because it's different from everyone else's, decide if this is a good place for you. So you're managing expectations. You're making sure when people go that they have what they need so they have a good experience. So that's one way to do it. But then we have organizations like the Anderson Center for Autism, and they do autism supportive environment training, and that is free for Dutchess County businesses thanks to funding through county government. And you have Taconic Resources. They do assessments and things for different businesses. And the county is working on encouraging people to be more accessible, not only to think differently, but to think accessible. Yes. And so that's something we're working with the county on, the county executive, to try to drive that forward and increase that accessibility in our county.
Absolutely. And I love what you were saying about the managing the expectations and understanding what each place has. Yeah. Because I've done a fair share of traveling myself, and though I personally don't need anything when I travel these places, but I found that when they say something is accessible,
Yeah.
It is so different. The definition changes from place to place. So when you're able to put these things together, these resources, and be like, hey, we're not perfect, we're working on it, we're actually doing a really good job, here is what we can offer.
Yeah.
That is huge because it helps spell it out rather than be a guessing game. And then it could be just a really horrible time for somebody if they're just kind of going 50-50, guessing, is this going to be good or not? You're making it possible for everybody to live and appreciate this area. So we appreciate all the work that's going into all of that.
Yeah, and you don't want to tell somebody something's accessible when it's not. That's just not right. And I've been on a listening end of that for someone who called me about a property that's not even in Dutchess County. They just wanted somebody to listen about the experience they had because somebody promised them that this place that they booked would be, and it was not. And it was not good for them, and I felt terrible for them. And so with our Wheel the World assessments, for hotels, there's 100 different points that they look at. They measure everything. They take photos of everything. So you can see it's not just saying, are you handicap accessible? Are you wheelchair accessible? And somebody says yes. Well, what does that mean? How wide is the door? Is there a smooth surface going through? Does the roll-in shower have a lip? Like, like silly things that people who don't have experience don't realize are a big deal for people.
Yes.
And so, and then, other standards for different types of attractions. What does it look like? Will it work for me? And they're very specific with those measurements. How wide are the doors? What kind of surface how's the carpet? Or is it a smooth tile? Or, any of those things that might hamper somebody's ability to access something, they're looking at, they're measuring, they're documenting.
Amazing. And again, people can find all this stuff on the Dutchess Tourism website,
That's right.
correct? Where can they find it on the website?
Yeah, so on the homepage at dutchesstourism.com, you scroll down under the header, you'll see an alphabet block right there at the top, A for accessibility.
Easy.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Melaine, thank you so much for being on this episode of Walsh
Thank
Wednesday.
you.
This will not be your last.
Yay.
We know that for sure. Do you have any last little nugget for those listening right now, whether that be about tourism, accessibility, or just kicking off the year in the right way?
Yeah, I think one of the best things that I saw last year was somebody talking about, instead of tourists living like a local, we want locals to live like a tourist in their town. So, go the extra mile, go to that tourist attraction that you drive past every day and don't stop at, or antique center as it may be. Spend the money, splurge on a fancy dinner like you would if you were on vacation. Take advantage of that here. Go to the big festival. Appreciate what we have here in our backyard. This is a world-class destination. People save their money and plan their trips to come from all over the world to Dutchess County and the Hudson Valley, and you get to live here. And if you don't take advantage of it, you are missing out. So that's my mantra for the year, to encourage people to, whether you're into resolutions or not, resolve to spend more time exploring your backyard.
Live like a tourist. I think that's just a good mantra for anybody at any time. Because that way you're present, you're appreciating what you have, and you're making the most out of your environment.
Yeah.
Live like a tourist. That is a great way to look into the new year. Thank you for that, Melaine. I appreciate it. And thank you again for being here on Walsh Wednesday.
I'm so excited.
Yes. We'll see where this all goes, right?
It's going to be great.
Looking forward to everything again. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Connor.
I'm Melaine.
And as always, we're glad we get to
spend some time.
Hey there, I'm the ad ref, and I'm calling a timeout on today's episode to tell you about this week's sponsors. First of all, let's throw it to Philomena in the booth. Philomena?
Thanks, Connor. I'm Philomena Finelli, CEO of Impact PR and Communications and a media maven, which is a fancy way of saying that my team and I help companies get in the news, transform leaders into thought leaders, and cut through the clutter with messaging that matters. And we do it all with a smile. Our agency was named the Woman-Owned Small Business of the Year for 2024 by the Metro New York District Office of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and we received the Gold Stevie Award for Women Run Workplace of the Year, which is an international recognition. But it's not about the awards, it's about the personal interactions. We at Impact PR and Communications pride ourselves on crafting meaningful, results-driven public relations campaigns that are tailored to meet and exceed our clients' goals. If you want to learn more and talk to my team and I, visit prwithimpact.com and let us know that you found out about us from Walsh Wednesday. Now back to you, Ad Ref.
Thanks, Philomena. Now it's time to tell you about an incredible basketball tournament that is coming to the Hudson Valley. Officials vs. Cancer is happening on Sunday, February 2nd at Dutchess Community College in Poughkeepsie. The first game starts at 11 o'clock and should go to roughly around 7. There's going to be t-shirts, concessions, raffles, and half-court shot contests. Only costs $5 to get in. Now, the 15 officials that are working the game are all volunteering their time. IAABO Board 114 has raised more money for Officials vs. Cancer than any other board in the country. All proceeds from Officials vs. Cancer goes to the American Cancer Society. The day starts with Red Hook vs. Millbrook, followed by Colony vs. Kingston, then NFA vs. New Paltz, Haldane vs. Spackenkill, and to wrap it all up, Saugerties versus Beacon. For more information, scan the QR code that's on your screen now. Hope to see you there for Officials vs. Cancer. All right, y'all, play ball. Hey there, welcome back to Walsh Wednesday. As always, I'm Connor, and I got a great second part of this episode for you. Transitioning from Dutchess Tourism over to Dutchess Community College, we're bringing you 2 Walshes for the price of 1. We'll explain that in a second. We're going to be talking about the Officials vs. Cancer basketball tournament that's happening at Dutchess Community College on Sunday, February 2nd, with boys basketball teams from in and around the Hudson Valley. This tournament is going to be benefiting the American Cancer Society. With us today, we have the interpreter of IAABO Board 114, board member for Officials vs. Cancer of the Hudson Valley, and my dad, Terry Walsh. Dad, hey.
Thank you very much, Connor, for having me.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you here and make this all work. I'm sure the commute was hell, right?
Oh, coming downstairs was just awful. The traffic was backed up.
Honestly, our house is more of an office than it is a house at this point.
I know.
Because you got your office upstairs, we got my studio down here. We might as well just start like renting out bedrooms and everything to other businesses.
True.
Make some extra money and all
Yeah,
that.
we'll see how Mom likes that.
I'm sure Mom would appreciate a little bit of privacy, but I'm sure she would also appreciate the extra money too.
Of course.
Well, with the extra money we get, she could get a whole separate apartment and she just has space to herself.
That would be great.
She might enjoy that, actually.
Yeah, I think she would.
But a little mom zone. But of course, the main focus is to talk about Officials vs. Cancer. It's for the 11th annual tournament this year. There was 2 years off because of the pandemic.
Yes, we missed 2 years.
Yeah, and also we're representing multiple different years here. You have year 9, I have year 10, and we will be getting our 11th year shirts this year.
From what I understand, they're going to be scarlet red or cardinal red. So they're going to be really sharp looking.
Scarlet, cardinal, regardless. Those are really good.
Yeah.
That's a good color and everything. Yeah. I remember there used to be like, they're always gray, but like different color lettering.
Right.
But now we got like different color shirts and everything.
Well,
That's nice.
now that Mark Hurley has taken over as chairman, he's been coming up with new designs and new colors, and we're trying new things all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Actually, a lot of times when I'm going to the gym, I'll see people in the Officials vs. Cancer shirts and everything, and I'll be like, I know where you got that. I probably sold you that shirt. Probably did. But with that being said, the 11th annual Officials vs. Cancer of the Hudson Valley. Officials vs. Cancer is a national thing that happens across the country with all the different boards. IAABO Board 114, our board here in the Hudson Valley, has contributed the most each year to Officials vs. Cancer, correct?
Yes. Over the last 10 years, we've contributed over $100,000 to Officials vs. Cancer. Last year was probably our best year ever. We sent them over $13,000. So
wow.
We've been very blessed, and we enjoy doing this and really putting out a wonderful product. And we get great sponsors. The attendance is always good at Dutchess Community College, and we have a great time putting this on.
Now, of course, Officials vs. Cancer here in the Hudson Valley has evolved a lot from its early days. And before there was even Officials vs. Cancer, there was a whole other tournament that you guys used to do. It's kind of crazy, the whole evolution and how things have molded and changed over the last like 15 or 20 years. Do you mind going into how Officials vs. Cancer started here in the Hudson Valley?
Yeah, if you go back way back, we used to have a tournament called the Red Fox Shootout taking place over at Marist College. And it was great. We had some of the best high school basketball from Long Island to New York City to the Hudson Valley to the Capital District. And they all came down, and we had wonderful, wonderful games. And we were able to learn three-man mechanics on the big college court. And it was terrific. And it was put on by the Red Fox Club there at Marist College, which is basically the alumni association. And what was happening at the same time, unfortunately, were people, especially in Long Island and there maybe a few upstate, were putting on individual tournaments, and they were profiting off the kids and putting it right in their pockets. And New York State Public High School Athletic Association found out about this and were shutting these tournaments down because they didn't want people profiting off of high school athletes. So we had a meeting with New York State Public High School Association. At the time, the president was a former athletic director from Rhinebeck, which is local to us, and they knew all about the Red Fox Shootout. She loved the shootout, but couldn't, based on her rules, make it work. They wanted the money going to, as we say in rock and roll, a registered charity. Mm-hmm. The Red Fox Club said, we're not giving up any of the money that we raise because we work really hard to raise it. So we were at an impasse. Nothing could get approved. What happened, I would say about 5 years later, we had a new president come in, Kevin O'Connor. He had just recovered himself from sinus cancer. We had also had a number of our members pass away from cancer. In that time period, we had Jim Kyle, Leo Darling, Whitey Raymond, and we wanted to do something to memorialize our colleagues who had fallen.
Your fallen colleagues.
So Kevin approached SUNY New Paltz and said, we would like to put on a bunch of high school games there at the SUNY New Paltz gym, and got that approved. And that was our very first Officials versus Cancer. It spread to 2 weekends, which turned out to be a lot of work. Mm. And then we started doing one weekend at SUNY New Paltz, one weekend at Dutchess. We found that Dutchess, there was a lot less red tape. We had less expenses, so we ended up going to Dutchess. Matt Piquet, the athletic director over there at Dutchess, he's so accommodating. We tell him we'd like to throw a fifth game at you. He goes, no problem, we'll handle it. You know, he brings out the ice, he brings out the tables, he's got everything set up, and he brings in his baseball team to set up and break down.
Ironic that it's the baseball team to help out.
Well, yeah, he loves his baseball team.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it works out beautifully.
No, it is a really great tournament, and it's something that we've been taking part of every single year that it's happened. It's kind of become a family tradition. Oh, yes. You, Mom, and I. Yeah, we even get Mom out for it.
Oh,
and
yes.
She's a big help with it. A lot of times she'll help out with the concessions. It'll be her and I over there. I've been out in the stands. I'll literally be like, get your concessions, get your T-shirts. I'm literally that guy.
Definitely. We need a runner running around, and it works.
Yep.
We've been very fortunate. A lot of our members volunteer their time, come over there. We have families that come over. We have children of officials who come over and help out. I could name a number of wives and families that all jump in, but I'm afraid I might miss somebody.
I'll probably miss a few people myself, but I know Mark's whole family, they typically come out.
The
His
Hurleys,
wife,
yes.
Of course, the Boyds have been huge every single year. Then, of course, Mom, she's been great many of the years. Obviously, we've had years where she'd had to take care of her parents, but many years that she would help out and take care of things.
You know, we had the Skellies. We've had the Sorensens helped out last year. Were a big help. The Arigema kids.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, your friends from school.
Yep.
The Arigema kids all jumped in, and they've all contributed. We all take this, cancer hits families, they hit officials, they hit all sorts of people. So, fortunately, none of us are immune. So,
no, absolutely, it is something where everybody's affected by it. Like, for instance, Mom had cancer, of course.
Yes.
So that was definitely a rough time while she was going through that with thyroid cancer and everything. And of course, we also lost Aunt Ann, and we lost a number of family members to different variations of cancer.
Definitely.
So this definitely hits home. And I know that it's meant a lot to all of us to work and be a part of it. So yes, of course, the volunteers, got to give a big shout out to all the volunteers. And if we missed any families or friends and extra volunteers, we apologize. Thank you so much for all the work that you do each and every single year. We appreciate you. Can't wait to see you on the 2nd, of course. And besides the family, friends, extra volunteers, there are plenty of referees that are going to be there, giving their time. They're going to be there helping out with the raffles, concessions, the tickets, and everything. It's a $5 donation to get in, right?
$5 to get in.
Yep, $5 to get in. So a lot of referees around out of uniform, but then the referees who are in uniform, they're donating their time as well, right?
Yes. By contract, officially, we do have to get paid. So we do get paid, but all the 15 officials who are going to be working that day will be donating their fee back to the Officials versus Cancer.
That's awesome.
Which is great.
No, it really is good, and it definitely helps out a lot. So then, on the day of course, what can people expect? Whether you are a fan, whether you're a family member, whether you're a friend, whatever. What can people expect once they get to this tournament?
Okay, we have a lot of fun. We
It
have,
is fun.
besides the games, we have raffles. We have 50-50 for each game. We have, during halftime, we have the half-court shot, which we give away either Renegades tickets or Dunkin' Donut
Gift cards, right?
gift cards. That's very popular. $1 a shot. And a lot of people get addicted, and they just keep shooting and shooting and shooting. It's
It's
wonderful.
like a casino.
Yeah, we have snacks, we have pizza, we have candies, we have Gatorades, we have all sorts of things. We have
Music, announcers, right?
announcers. We give away
Oh, the
some of
wristbands.
the wristbands, the pink wristbands we usually have. We have some extra T-shirts we sell, plus great basketball.
Yeah, of course. Naturally, the basketball. Now, you have the list in front of you, right? Could you go through the lineup of which teams are playing when?
All right, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Don't worry, I got you. I'm helping you out.
Okay, thank you. Red Hook versus Millbrook. And then we have, after that, Colony versus Kingston. Then we have NFA versus New Paltz, Haldane versus Spackenkill, and Saugerties versus Beacon.
Awesome. And what time is that all starting again?
We start at 11 o'clock in the morning, basically give an hour and a half per game, and then 15 minutes warm up for the next one, and then we keep rolling all day long until somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock in the evening.
No, very good. And of course, most of these are Hudson Valley teams, but a couple of them are traveling out. So it's great to have the greater New York area be a part of this.
Yeah, mostly we attract the local teams, but like Kingston, they like to play teams from the Albany area, and they play a lot of them. So they invited Colony to come down. We've had teams like Tappan Zee or North Rockland or Yorktown in the past. Teams come from all over. We try to find teams that attract bigger crowds, naturally, because we want bigger attendance. And then we have teams that have good local followings in the Hudson Valley. We know that they travel well. They come every year, and we put them on the schedule. Mark Hurley does a wonderful job scheduling all the games, because we start in the summertime the year before, trying to set, contacting teams going, would you like to play in the tournament? Do you have room in your schedule? Who would you like to play? And we try to match them up and, have a great time. Like the last game of the night, we have Beacon and Saugerties. They played each other for the Class A sectional final last year. And
That'll make for a good game.
they decided, let's have a rematch, let's play. So, we get some really good matchups, and you've been there the last couple of years. Seems like every game goes down to the wire.
Last year especially,
Yeah.
I would definitely agree. Last year especially, I felt like every game was like down to the last minute. The competition is great. It is a lot of fun. And it's so good to see people come out for this every single year, and it does become this community, which is really important. And, the next thing, before I get to the next thing, of course, with Officials versus Cancer, even if you're unable to attend, you can still donate to Officials versus Cancer, correct?
Yes, we'll have code that we'll put up on.
We'll put it in the links.
Connor's links.
We'll put it in the description of this episode. It's a little too long to actually read out.
Yes, and you can contribute. We have T-shirts. You might look on the back of our T-shirts. They have the sponsors that give the most money. They get on the T-shirts, and if you donate, I believe it's $1,000, you get to be on the T-shirt.
Oh, I did not donate that much. You'll find Walsh Wednesday in the program, but not on the T-shirt,
yes.
I guess.
Yes, we have different levels.
Yep,
and you can.
We're still small.
You can get in the program, but there are various dollar amounts that you can contribute to be a part of this, and we'll take any donation. Anything helps. Mark adds it all up at the end of the tournament and submits the money to the Officials versus Cancer. None of the money is kept by IAABO 114. We donate every single penny to the charity, and that's how we work it.
No, I love it. It is such a fun event. I love the camaraderie. I love the community aspect of it. And it's such a great staple of the Hudson Valley. So that leads me to what I want to talk about next, the community of basketball. Mm-hmm. Athletics in general are huge when it comes to, schools. It's a great outlet for everybody. But one thing that does put things in a little bit of danger, there's a bit of a ref shortage going on right now.
Oh, there's definitely a ref shortage.
Yeah, I know, like you in particular, you've been running like crazy trying to do games. Other officials have been as well, trying to make it all happen. But if you don't have enough refs, you can't do these games and these seasons don't happen. So tell us more about the problem of this ref shortage.
Yeah, if you don't have a referees, it's only a pickup game. Really. We're hurting. We need new referees because during the pandemic years, we lost a lot of referees, either through retirement or because of interests or business or injuries, moving, all sorts of things. So we lost a lot of very, very good talent. So we're trying to replenish that. We need young guys that could get out of work at 4:00 to do games. That's hard.
See, that's one of the other
problems.
too.
So we're trying to get guys who can do games, who could move up the ladder and take over. At one time, I was one of the young guns.
What do you mean? You're 36.
Yeah, right. Not anymore. So, we're only going to be around for a short time and short time more. So we need people to fill in those spots and continue what we've put together here in the Hudson Valley and all over the country. Officiating numbers are down.
Yeah.
So right now, IAABO, which is the International Association of Approved Basketball Officials, that's the organization we belong to, and we are contracted with New York State to do all their public high school games. IAABO has an IAABO University. So you can take an online class anytime during the year. You just have to sign up for it, pay $50, and you take the class. There are 20 sessions in the class and break down the rule book. And then you take the quizzes at the end. And when you're all done with the 20 sessions, there's a 50-question test that you must pass with an 80 or above, and that gets you into being an official.
Awesome. And, of course, there are a number of ways to help get you through the door. You guys do offer, like, in-person classes to get some idea of the mechanics on the court, and right? Well, you've done that for a number of people.
Yes.
And
once they pass the test, we get them on the floor, try to work out, positioning, mechanics, what to do, what not to do. And we have guys that many of our retired guys will run around, help, watch, observe, give feedback, and they're terrific. People like Sandy Bernstein, we couldn't run our program without him.
Yeah.
He helps a great deal. And that's how we develop our talent.
No, and it's really impressive. And besides being a job, you do get paid for this. This is something that does have some extra money here. What are some of the main reasons and incentives to become a referee? Continue that basketball legacy if you love it, help out around the area, the community aspect of it. What makes it good to be a referee?
Okay, you can be a part of the high school sports system, which is really nice. When I stopped playing 100 years ago, I miss not being out on the court and being on the floor or on the field, and I really enjoyed being back on the floor. Another thing is the challenge of it. Basketball officiating is very challenging. You have to be able to run. You have to have quick reflexes. You have to have rule knowledge. You have to have an ability to see the play and be able to call the play properly. And you have to have a thick skin also, because
Yeah, you get a lot of abuse too.
Not always easy. Some people just don't like the abuse. They don't, and others, we're used to it and we can handle it.
I like to think that every referee, regardless of the sport, is just slightly a masochist. No, I'm kidding.
A little bit.
But that being said, though, yeah, referees do get a lot of abuse, most of the time unwarranted.
Most of the time. Unwarranted.
Oh, trust me,
Yes.
most of the time is. And with that being said, of course, it's like, considering that abuse, considering that it is not a glamorous role, walk me through, what is the pride with it? I know you've always said, like, you call it those moments after the game at the bar.
Yeah. We all have our war stories that we all tell at the bar, which are technical fouls and things when chaos breaks out and we have to get things back under control. Those are good stories, but we try to avoid them as much as possible. And we had a game the other night. Turned out terrific. I thought my partner and I did a really outstanding job. We left the gym. As we were walking out of the gym, I said to my partner, I go, we always talk about our war stories, but this is the kind of game that brings you back.
Yeah.
That you felt like you nailed it. You may not have gotten 100% all the way through, but we gave him a really good game that night. And we could feel pride in what we did. And in that situation, that is really what we work for. We're trying to get that perfect game every night. It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
And but when you come close and you end up not getting yelled at a whole lot because you did a good job, then it's a fun night.
Yeah, it's meaningful. It hits you when you have those good nights. It's like you sit down in your car, you're just like, that was good.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes you say, you know what, partner, we were the best team on the court tonight. Yeah, and there are really good nights involved in it. There are some wild nights, I must admit, but that goes into your storybook.
Yeah. All the stories we could tell, am I right?
Oh, yes.
So very, very good. So for those interested in learning a little bit more about joining IAABO, becoming a basketball referee, what are the best steps that they can take to start that test, learn the ways in order to get in?
Well, the easiest way is contact me. You can contact me at Walsh Valuation, all one word, walshvaluation@gmail.com. And I can direct you to the IAABO website, and you can sign up for IAABO University. And once you sign up for that, we can help you. A lot of guys, they attack it and just go through it as fast as they can because I got to become a ref, and that's great. But I'm there to help any part that you might have some questions on. And then once you pass, we get you fingerprinted. We get you signed up. You pay your dues. We get you then into the roster for the assigners, and off you go. You start refereeing.
Beautiful. And of course, we'll have my dad's email along with the IAABO website. All those links in the description of this episode, so you can check that all out. Dad, again, thank you so much for being on this episode, talking about officials versus cancer and everything. Big shout out again to all the teams that are playing, all the volunteers, the family members, the players, referees, everybody who makes this all happen. Mom, I don't know if you're going to be there this year, but again, thank you for all the hard work you do each and every year as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, big time. Those are long days. Those are long days, and Mom's not a huge basketball fan, so
They are long days, but they're very satisfying. Once you're done with the day and you pack everything up, you go, job well done.
I know. It is one of those things where you do feel like you did make a difference.
Yes.
It does feel great. Again, Dad, I'll let you travel back to your office so far away and everything. Yes. But again, thank you for stopping downstairs.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm Connor.
And I'm Terry.
And as always, we're glad we get to
spend some time.
I'm Bernie Williams, and I lost my dad to idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. My dad was my hero. Talking about my family's experience with interstitial lung disease and how music helped us cope is very important to me. It's one of the ways I can ensure my dad's legacy lives on. It's why I'm so excited to be part of Tune In to Lung Health. Through this program, you'll find plenty of resources and education, including a series of vocal exercise videos. I'll be joined by vocal coach Eric Vitro. He'll walk us through techniques that he uses with his own celebrity clients. In these videos, you'll meet people affected by interstitial lung disease. They'll share personal stories, as well as participate in breathing and vocal exercises that might help you cope with the mental, physical, and emotional burden of this disease. Please explore all these videos and enjoy. I hope you find them helpful.
Hey there, and welcome back to Walsh Wednesday. Switching from basketball to baseball, I am honored to be speaking with our next guest. First of all, my first time going to Yankee Stadium was during his last season in the MLB. We officially met last summer for his phenomenal concert at Millbrook Winery, and then we spoke again in September for Pulmonary Fibrosis Awareness Month. Today, we'll be touching on a little bit of each of that. Without further ado, making his Walsh Wednesday debut, he's a 4-time World Series winner, 5-time All-Star, Grammy-nominated and Billboard best-selling artist, founder of Tune Into Lung Health. We have New York Yankees legend, world-renowned jazz guitarist, and philanthropist, Bernie Williams. Bernie, how are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me and giving me an opportunity to tell my story. And many blessings to you and your listeners.
Much appreciated, Bernie. Seriously, it's so great to speak with you again, and I'm glad to dive right into it. Now, obviously, we really want to dive into Tune Into Lung Health, but before we get into that, before we transition towards that, I want to talk about baseball for a little bit. Now, mind you, the 2024-25 free agency season has been wild. You know, Juan Soto, for example, his deal with the Mets, headline-breaking example. But you know what? Let's take it back 27 years to when you were a free agent in 1998. I think it's pretty fair to say if your free agency turned out any other way, it would have significantly changed the trajectory of baseball history, not just your career, but baseball history. Do you mind going into that for us?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, it was a very tumultuous time in my career. I had to make some life career-changing decisions. I felt that I kind of paid my dues in the minor league organization, and for 6 years in the major leagues, we were coming off the coattails of having three great seasons, 96, 97, and 98. I was ready to make the big step into having the big year, the big contract, and having the opportunity to secure myself financially, for the rest of my career. It was time to go into negotiations with the team that saw me grow up as a child, at 16, 17. But, the negotiations did not go as I planned at the beginning. We had to go through a little bit of finagling. Part of my agent, Scott Boras, which coincidentally, was the guy in the negotiations with Juan Soto and Brian Cashman and Mr. Steinbrenner. At the time, they were at an impasse because I think Scott was definitely vouching and trying to get, a fair market value in our minds, to what I thought I was worth. And the team was not budging. They were saying, okay, we're going to give you this, take it or leave it. So we had this little impasse where I said, well, I think at the end of the day, I realized that I want to remain a Yankee, for the rest of my career, at least for most of it. I want to make that happen. So, one thing led to another. I made a call to Mr. Steinbrenner. We kind of negotiated, between ourselves. And at the end of the day, we had the opportunity to remain a Yankee for the next 7 years, which basically turned into 10 because I played 2 or 3 more after that and cemented my position as a lifelong Yankee player, and definitely one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my career, because I think being part of those teams and being part of the fabric of that organization has done great things for my life, and we changed the history of the game in many ways, with our teams and our run, which I feel very proud about.
Absolutely. You certainly made a huge impact, of course, going on to win several World Series right afterwards. And you really took it into your own hands. As you said, you made that call. And I think that is so impressive. Now, one thing that a lot of people may not know, you nearly went over to the Yankees' rival, the Boston Red Sox. Wasn't that one of the discussions you were having at the time?
Yes, that is correct. Red Sox were among a handful of teams that were really, really interested in having my services, playing for their team. Another team, I think it was maybe Detroit at the time, maybe Arizona,
Mm.
which I had a connection with because Buck Showalter was the one kind of like leading that team and putting the team together. Him and Carlos Tosca. I had a great opportunity to go there and being shown, what it would be like to be in a new franchise, with the Arizona Diamondbacks at the time. And it was this great sort of eerie thing when I go into the locker room, into the clubhouse, and there has just the thing was all, the lights were kind of like very low. And there was just one light in my locker where the Diamondbacks jersey with the 51 in it.
Oh,
And I
my
was like,
God.
that's what you were thinking. I mean, if they were not enticing enough to try to lure me in to play with that team, nothing else would have done it. And I was like, wow, man, this is just amazing. But I just imagined, how my life and my career would have turned out had I made that decision and signed with them. I mean, obviously they won in 2001.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of interesting to see in hindsight. The Red Sox were the same thing. Mr. Duquette was the general manager at the time, and he offered me a very lucrative contract. I was like, "Wow, this is great," but at the end of the day, I have my family in New York. I have little kids at the time that were in school. The whole system I knew. I have conquered how to play and figure out how to play in one of the biggest markets, in sports. In the world, in New York, playing with the expectations of the media and the fans and the team and the ownership, and I already are in good light with them. So why try to fix what is not broken? So I remain a Yankee for the rest of my career, and I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely. And as a lifelong Yankee fan, I am very grateful for that. And as I said, I got to see you play, and it was one of the best memories growing up to be able to see that. So it's so cool to be able to see where your career has gone, and now to have this opportunity to be speaking with you now and looking back on it on hindsight. So moving forward a couple of years, of course, we want to talk about Tune Into Lung Health in a little bit. One of the main inspirations for Tune Into Lung Health was the passing of your father in 2001. Now, that time period must have been such a bittersweet, crazy moment, because on one end, you just signed this incredible deal with the Yankees you were just telling me about. You won 3 back-to-back-to-back World Series, but then at the same time, you lose the man that you've affectionately called your Superman. What was that like for you and your family during that time period, and how has that affected your mission going forward?
It affected the mission going forward in a very profound way. I think, going back in those times, even though they're, very sad in many ways, I was at the pinnacle of my career in my professional life, coming off the results of 98, 99, 2000, back to back to back, as you said, well, World Series championships, getting into 2001, we have already seen signs of my father's health failing. And I remember the winter of 2000 going into 2001, I was visiting my father frequently in the hospital because he was already bedridden. In many ways, in hindsight, it was an opportunity to say my goodbyes to him, even though I did not know at the time. By the time the season started in 2001, he was already going into a very like downward spiral decline. And by the time he passed, he was in the middle of the season in 2001, where I had to go after a day game playing in Yankee Stadium to the hospital because they had already told me that he was not going to make it through the night. And I went to the hospital and he had already passed. So I never really got to say my goodbyes, except for the time that I spent with him in the off season. So that affected my life because he, like you said, he was our Superman. He was the guy that really look up to. He was very influential in my career, even as a professional baseball player, playing many years with the big leagues. He was the one saying, "Lay off the high ones," and giving me all the like great advice, not only in baseball, but in life, and his great example, So I wanted to do something to pay tribute to everything that he had meant to me. And that's why a few years later, I connected with Beringer Ingelheim in this campaign that has taken many names and many faces. In this particular phase, we're trying to introduce the power of music, which is something that is really dear and close and dear to my heart, to try to, mitigate and address all these other ancillary things that come with dealing with interstitial lung disease, which idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis is just one of about 200 of these, dealing with the anxiety, the depression, the frame of mind, the being in a good place, spiritually. All of those things, music always have had the ability to enhance and make things better. So with my likeness, being a professional baseball player, ex-professional baseball player, and trying to bring light, to that endeavor, utilizing also the power of music, that was the thing that kind of gave birth to the Tuning to Lung Health campaign. And it has been really great, having an opportunity to speak with people that are really suffering from these diseases, making sure that to tell them that, we have a support system for them and they're not alone and they don't have to go through this whole thing on their own, has been very influential in my life, because I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was going through that thing as a caretaker with my parent, with my mother and my brother. It has been just a great blessing to be part of that process in my personal life.
And the work that you guys have been doing is really phenomenal. So for anybody who is unaware, could you please give a brief overview exactly on what interstitial lung disease is and how that plays into the mission of Tune Into Lung Health?
Yeah, interstitial lung disease, especially in my particular experience, my dad suffered from idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which is basically scarring of the lung tissue. It happens, at a time, the idiopathic part of it alludes to the fact that there's no pinpoint cause that you can determine how does this things happen. They just seem to happen. They might be just some allusions to, genetic predisposition to it. They might be just some other talks, but they haven't really found a cause. And that's why the idiopathic part of the equation comes into place. However, it is a terminal disease. Unfortunately, you can do things to enhance the quality of your life and maybe elongate the quality, your life at a time. But once you get diagnosed, is usually 5 to 8 years period of time that you can do things, to enhance the quality. And by the time they discovered my dad's condition, there was not a lot that they could do to enhance the quality of his life and to make it longer. And there was not a lot of things that were in the market and they were in the medical field to, address that issue. And that's why it was so important for me to bring awareness of this so we can mobilize people to start working towards finding different avenues to deal with these diseases. And, that's why I spent, for the last 7 years, a lot of the time that I spent in the year is trying to bring awareness. Prior to COVID, we were able to go to stadiums and go to different cities and just basically just bring the gospel there. Hey, interstitial lung disease, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. There's a percentage of people, approximately about 200,000 people in the United States, and then worldwide, there's a significant amount of people that are suffering from these diseases, and they may not even know that they have them. So bringing awareness to these conditions, because they present symptoms that could be misconstrued and misinterpreted from other conditions, like COP or asthma, bronchitis, because it's all in the respiratory system. So having the opportunity of being diagnosed with interstitial lung disease at an early time will enhance your opportunity to have the treatment that you need to enhance the quality of your life and perhaps, make it a little bit longer. Nothing is guaranteed, but having the opportunity of being diagnosed early really improves your chances. So that's basically the gist of this campaign and my efforts and the efforts of the pulmonary fibrosis community to try to bring awareness about all these issues, because a lot of people may be affected and might be positively affected with these and this effort. So it's a really important thing, and I think a lot of people should know about it.
I think so too. And honestly, the community is lucky to have such a wonderful champion such as yourself to be able to help raise awareness for this issue, of course. So you mentioned this a little bit already, how music is such a big part of your life. I mentioned it earlier. You are a renowned jazz guitarist. Seeing you perform last summer was phenomenal, mind-blowing,
Oh,
probably
wow.
one of the
Thank
highlights
you.
of the year for me. So with that being said, you said how music plays a big part into Tune Into Lung Health. How do you bring the medical community and the music community together in this organization and charity?
Well, I think the most important thing to know about the music aspect of it is that it's, the just the power of music, the healing part of music, to put you in a good mood, to get you in a better frame of mind, to soothe your mind and your anxiety and your depression and everything that comes with dealing with a condition like this, not only for the patients, but for the caretakers, the people that are in charge of making sure that you take your medication, that you get your vitals, in order, that they're taking, every single aspect of their psychological makeup because, they're dealing with a loved one also, suffering and dealing with this condition. Music is just a great balm, a soothing thing that kind of gets your mind at ease. And overlooking the importance of that, it's a disservice because I think you can utilize it in so many ways. And it could be just a thing that will enhance your treatment. It'll enhance the quality of your life. And bringing that element into the campaign is one of the things that we can utilize to help people suffering from these conditions, in all, also with making sure that you get your medications and you get your treatments and you get everything. Introducing music into the mix is I think is a very important part, dealing with the psyche and psychological aspect of this circumstances. So the tuningtolunghealth.com is a website that has information about these interstitial lung diseases. It has vocal and breathing exercises by a great vocalist by the name of Eric Vitro. That it's all about controlling your breath. And for people that don't have these conditions, it could be overlooked. But for people that really depend on every single breath that they take, for their and really know that they're counted. It is such an important thing, and you can never be overlooked the importance of having that breath because there's so few and far in between that enhancing your capability of basically working with your body so you can improve your respiratory and your oxygen intake by doing these exercises is one thing that is basically done by singing, by performers. They use these exercises and they could certainly improve people that have these conditions. And ultimately, at last we have a playlist of people that songs that will enhance your life, songs that I sort of picked, and other people have picked, to enhance all the moods. If you feel sad, if you feel anxious, if you feel, there's a song there that might speak to you. So it's a well thought out website that people can go in and have information about these things that may give you a little bit more knowledge on how to treat and what to expect. So I think tuningtolunghealth.com is a great resource for people that have these conditions, and that's why we're trying to get people to see it and check it out and see what they can get out of it.
Amazing. And as somebody who went to music college as a singer and learned a lot of different breathing techniques and be able to help with endurance and overall health, I know it's helped me out. I know it can help other people out firsthand. And it's amazing that you're offering this to so many people. Bernie, I know you're a busy guy. You have many places to be, but I appreciate you so much. Again, we'll have the links and information in the description of this interview. Of course, you can find out more about Tune Into Lung Health going to tuneintolunghealth.com. Bernie, in our last few seconds, do you have any last little nugget you would like to leave with our listeners?
Well, I am so excited about how these things have come into my life. The fact that I'm able to utilize my platform to try to help people and basically, what all we do, try to leave the world in a better place that we found it when we came in. With that sort of overlapping concept in my mind, you're doing the baseball, doing the music, doing the philanthropic work, and not only me but the team that I have. We have Steve Fortunato out there, my agent, really putting all these things together. We've got Berriger Engelheim and all the people that have to do with try to enhance the quality of the lives of these people are just an amazing thing to be a part of, and it is just great to make sure that you're doing something to help people out and try to pay back all the blessings that I have had in my life. So thank you so much for the opportunity to tell people about this, and I thank you for all the work that you do, and for being a Yankee fan. I'm biased. I'm rooting for my people, and very excited about you know the upcoming season. And we were so close last year. I think we could have the team to make it happen this year, and I'm looking forward to how things develop.
Terrific. Bernie, again, thank you so much for being here on Walsh Wednesday. I'm Connor.
I'm Bernie.
And as always, we're glad we get to
spend some time.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Walsh Wednesday. Big thank you to our guests, Melaine Rottkamp, Terry Walsh, and Bernie Williams. Special thanks to Impact PR and Communications, IAABO Board 114, Walsh Valuation, and Tune Into Lung Health. Last but certainly not least, we have to recognize our first Patreon member, Jenna Hess. Thank you, Jenna. I love you very much. I can say that because I actually know you, and I appreciate the support. You can support this channel by becoming a Patreon member with memberships as low as $5 a month. With that, you can get behind-the-scenes content, your name featured in the credits of each episode, and access to the Spend Some Time chat. You can find that and more by scanning the QR code on your screen or by going to the links in the description. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and I'm glad we get to spend some time.